So today we're going to be discussing immersive media and how it's changing media and what this means for STEAMhouse and our businesses. So the first question is, what are the benefits of virtual space over physical space?
Okay, so it's a really good question, and there's a variety of ways to answer it. So some of the easy kind of wins with virtual space are that you can make things accessible to audiences that you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach. And I mean that both in terms of accessibility with clients or customers who may have disabilities or issues that impact their ability to enter physical spaces in your environment, but also in terms of being able to have a wider reach. In terms of the some of the kind of finer tuned benefits of virtual reality over something that you might do in the physical space, it really depends on the context of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve. So I always think it's best to think about who are you trying to reach, what's the message that you're trying to send, and what is the best medium for that. So sometimes the best medium isn't going to be virtual reality or immersive media. Sometimes it's going to be something much more kind of traditional media based. So it's just about thinking about what is the right medium for the message you're trying to send.
Okay, so you mentioned immersive media. A lot of our audience might be wondering, what exactly is immersive media and how is it changing the media around us?
Okay, great question. So I actually have a bit of a problem with the term immersive media because I think that just because the technology has advanced, it doesn't necessarily mean that the experience is more immersive. So for example, I love reading fiction books, and so I can get happily immersed in a novel. I don't need any bells or whistles or anything else. I can just sit down and read and go into my own little bubble there. But when we talk about immersive media, what we talk about really is something that is more of a sensorial attachment, really. So whether that's that your visuals are all around you, whether it's that the sound is all around you, or that extra things are kind of coming into the picture or coming into play with you that previous media may not have incorporated. So for example, with virtual reality, we have that whole, you can put on a headset and you can enter that whole space. If you're thinking about 360 video, similarly, you can kind of look all around you and you are in that world with binaural sound. Similarly, you've got the sound coming all around you. And so it's about creating a more sort of three-dimensional experience. In terms of how it's changing the face of media today, it really is enhancing certain qualities that we get from our normal traditional forms of media. So again, it's about thinking what is appropriate when, because if you have something that, for example, is in virtual reality, it's about thinking, what does the virtual reality enhance? What does that bring? If you're trying to convert a story into something that has that three-dimensional effect, what more can it bring to you? And how might you use that to put your audience in a position of feeling that they are in and part of the story or experience that you're trying to tell?
Okay, so does that, I know you mentioned that you're into novels and things like that and books. So what does that mean for the rest of the world? Does that mean that people will no longer be consuming media in the physical space? Is it going out of fashion?
Again, great question. I think that based on the fact that we still read novels, we still listen to the radio, we still watch TV, even after we have advances in films, in gaming, in new technologies. For me, I don't think that our old mediums will ever be completely dismissed. I don't think we'll ever stop using them. I think like we see and have seen over the past decades of media consumption, the fashions and trends of that change. So for example, if you think about the resurgence of podcasts that we've had recently, when podcasts first came about, they were great, but then they kind of dropped off. No one was really interested in them. Now podcasts are very in again. Same with film. We kind of had a big era of film culture, and then now we've kind of gone back into the more sort of epic TV series. So the fashions and trends of media always change, but again, you know, we still go to the theatre, and that's something that was done in ancient times. So I don't believe that immersive media represents a complete threat to our traditional forms of media. I think it, as I say, adds a new lens and enhances certain experiences. There is something to be said there about kind of spreading your audience more thinly across different mediums. But that's why a lot of kind of artists and businesses and services now try to incorporate more transmedia storytelling or advertising or campaigning, where there's different bits of that story, different bits of that message in the different mediums, so that you can then, as an audience, pick and choose and consume. And the more different bits you piece together, the more of the world you might see, but still you can kind of consume the area that fits your preferences, your tastes, and your interests the most.
So many brands might be wondering, will my customer or community still be able to connect with my brand through immersive media or VR?
Yeah, so that is something that really depends on, again, what you're trying to do, who you're trying to connect with, and whether it's the right medium for the job you're trying to do. So it's not going to suddenly kind of revolutionize your business to use immersive media and everything's fine. You can use immersive media badly. Okay, you can have virtual reality experiences that are gimmicky, not very effective. You can have 360 video with a kind of sense of, well, what is this bringing? What does this enhance? So that's why I say, you know, it's about thinking, what can you do? There are certain things that in virtual reality, you might be able to pitch your business in much more interactive ways. If you're a startup or you're working on prototypes, then being able to make a model of those things in virtual reality or mock up a 360 environment, then that could really give people your vision. Similarly, if you want to have a much more interactive relationship with your clients, using things like augmented reality can really enhance that. And we see that in business now, that we have moved from a model where businesses kind of push their content out and consumers consume it. Now, in the age of social media, for example, we already have much more interaction with our audiences. And so immersive media can really harness that and enhance that to create more of that interactive relationship and that give and take between businesses and their customers.
So can VR actually create emotions or feelings?
So I think that what any medium does is kind of tap into your imagination and your empathetic skills. For some people, like say if you enjoy reading and you've got that kind of imagination, you might be able to read a description on a book and your imagination fills in the blanks. For other people, they don't want to read the page. It might be kind of create a clunky experience for them, and so seeing a visual can send that message to them much quicker. So what virtual reality can do is immediately create that environment, and by, as I said before, by sort of putting your audience in the middle of that, what you're able to do is shut off the outside world more and allow your audience to focus more on the specifics of the space that you're creating. And so what that does is then allow more of that focus and concentration to be placed in that space, which again, there is able to enhance your empathetic connection with that. But again, you know, we've all seen films that have been, you know, that have made us cry or made us laugh. We've all seen films that haven't. So the way that the emotion is created isn't just by the technology that's used, but by the story that's being captured within that. So it certainly can enhance empathetic experiences sometimes, but equally, if it's glitchy, for example, it's going to have the exact opposite effect.
So to really home in on that, how can we use all this to communicate voice for a brand?
That's a really difficult question, actually. It's about thinking about what relationship do you want with your audience. So this is the kind of thing that when you are putting yourself out in any digital medium, you should be thinking about what's the kind of tone of your brand, what kind of a relationship do you want with your audience, whether that's more of a kind of casual, warm relationship, or whether it's one of a kind of business professional. And then how can that voice and that tone and that feeling be transferred into different environments? So as I say, for some businesses, it may be a case of, by being able to put someone in your workspace, for example, you're able to connect with people by showing them, you know, this is who we are, this is what we do. For some people, it might be a case of, we've got a lot of kind of ideas and designs, for example, models, and we want to demonstrate our idea set to you. And then by using different forms of immersive media, it allows that to happen in a different way. So it depends on kind of what your brand message is, but you certainly can use different forms of immersive media to convey that to your audience in different ways.
Okay, to round off the interview, Poppy, what's your role within STEAMhouse? Who are you? Tell us.
So I'm Dr. Poppy Wilde. I'm a lecturer in media and communication at Birmingham City University and an active researcher in the Birmingham Centre for Media and Cultural Research. My role within STEAMhouse is as an academic coordinator for the Faculty of Arts, Design and Media. So what I'll be doing with STEAMhouse over the next couple of years is I connect with businesses who might want to talk about how they can utilise immersive media. They might want to kind of mind map different ideas and have some input on that. They might want to talk about the more research aspects of that in terms of, for example, my specialisms in embodiment and effect and thinking about our embodied experiences in virtual or physical environments. And I also run some workshops. So for example, so far we've done some introduction to immersive media. I also have specialism in social media. So hopefully I will be able to have interesting and insightful conversations with any STEAMhouse members. STEAMhouse members who I've already connected with have all got fascinating ideas. It's an absolute privilege to discuss those with them. So that's me.
Okay, Poppy, thank you for this interview. It was wonderful hearing from you. Welcome to STEAMhouse. Hope we have many connections.
Absolutely, and thank you so much, Victoria, for such insightful and interesting and thought-provoking questions.
No problem. See ya.
Thank you.